How's it going, guys? And welcome back to another Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Matt K.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Mod John C.
Hello.
And myself, Mod Archie. Using a new mic today.
Yes, the rapping
Feel
mic.
a little bit important.
He's going to do some rapping for us later.
In addition, we'll be showcasing the new Halloween event halfway through the stream and heading over to Mod Ghost to display a Let's Design Zaya, a special 1 hour-ish, maybe longer live stream, right at the end of the stream, so stay tuned in. Right. First question. Limero asks, thoughts on having Zulgwiniwig,
That priestess in Zalandra.
the priestess in Zalandra, being able to sell teleport scrolls to Zalandra for a set price, meaning they couldn't be manipulated, I suppose.
If you could sell teleport scrolls to her, it might deal with the price of them.
I think the concern is Iron Men wanting to buy them. Obviously can't use the Grand Exchange.
Doesn't it make it easier for them if they could just buy them from a shop anyway? I mean, the whole thing about Iron Men is it's not supposed to be easy content, and I don't think we should make content to make Iron Men easier, per se.
Especially since it's not needed to get there. There's the fairy ring and whatever, right? So
I think Iron Men need to toughen up and not be quite so wimpish.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
Indeed.
Okay. Gothic asks, when wielding the blowpipe, can darts in our inventory get an add to blowpipe right-click option?
We can't do dynamic ops like that under the current inventory panel. If it's ever reworked to a newer format, that might become possible. Or, if you click on a dart to wield it while you've got a blowpipe equipped, then the wield option could just make it go up your blowpipe.
That would be really nice. Right, but realistically, that sounds like a really nice idea. As somebody who uses the blowpipe, I'd be totally for
Sounds
that.
like a very nice idea.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, very nice idea. All right.
Saying nothing.
I wonder whether anything wants doing to crossbow bolts for that ammo pouch thing. You know, there's a crossbow pouch for lots of bolts. We've had a few requests to do usability jobs around it. That could be a fairly helpful one.
Indeed, yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question. Perfect asks, can you please add law talismans to the drop table of Essence Implings?
Why?
So it's for peers who don't want to do the
So to
quest.
circumvent the quest
How
locked
to
content.
get the
Yes.
quest reward without doing the quest?
Yes.
That's a good question, that.
Yes, I think, yeah. They've got to do the quest, really.
Yes.
That's what the quest is there for.
That's a
Quest
good answer.
locked for a reason.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed.
BB asks, can we see more untradeable cosmetic achievements? So he's got a couple ideas here. Rare third age armor dies from Clue Scrolls. Armor dies isn't something we've...
Yeah,
Well,
cosmetics
from
is really
used ones, I
quite weird. I mean, one thing that when we did the survey, players really didn't want to see was overrides. And then when we started talking, the reason they didn't want to see overrides was because they wanted to make sure they knew what somebody was wearing. And the more items we put in which are the same thing but look differently, the more difficult it comes to do that. So do we have the issue of almost extending that issue to more cosmetic stuff? So if you can have armour in 6 or 7 different colours, then suddenly, you know, it makes it more difficult to recognise what people are wearing. Oh, it's a different colour. Is it the same armour? I'm not aware about the dyes. I don't know. It all changes like that, so does it make it more complicated?
We have had quite a few things like that from the Bounty Hunter shop. The thing is, after we'd done quite a lot of those things, people started complaining and not appreciating them anymore, so we just stopped.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's really difficult because cosmetics allows us to do an awful lot of nice things, and recolours of stuff is very cheap to do in regards to development time, but it does seem lazy way of doing it. If we want to do some cosmetic stuff, you know, I'd rather have a new set of armour, like the Iron Man armour, for example, and the stuff coming with Dead Man as well. That sort of stuff seems a much more respectful way of doing it to the players.
It also takes a surprising amount of time to do some of the recolours. It's easy enough for a simple thing like, say, a rune plate being painted grey or something, although that would be a really foolish cosmetic recolour to offer.
Steel rune plate.
Yes. Yeah.
It's got the stats of rune, but looks like steel. But if you want to do it with something that's got actual code associated with it and charges and has things used on it that turn it into another form, then you end up with a lot of extra things to worry about, and That's the kind of thing that leads to that bug what I had when Zilver came out, where if you charged, I think, your blowpipe or charged your tridents or charged something at the wrong moment, then it just ate your fang.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we fixed that.
That was at the start of that dead.
That was something of the sort, yeah.
All right. Well, as far as recolors go, he had another cool idea here. Actually, it sounds cool in theory, I should say. A golden mutagen for the Slayer helm.
Oh,
That would be quite nice.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
It kind of looked like gilded, I suppose.
I'd lock that behind like a 10,000 tar streak or something.
It's just one color.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting idea. I don't even have a Slayer helm. It just sounds cool. And yeah, okay. Next question. Petter asks, can you repull the Divine Spirit Shield? We're going there today. Okay.
We had a few conversations about that recently.
Yeah, it's cropped up the last couple of weeks. I don't have an issue with it from a balancing side. It's just whether you guys want it really or not. I've not seen enough of you really sort of come forward and say we really need this to make me think that it's something we need to make a priority. But I'm perfectly open to it from the game balancing point of view.
It got 66% last time it was polled, I believe. And at the time we were offering it with its pre-EOC stats, which unfortunately I didn't memorise. If people reckon that 66 would have gone all the way up to 75, then sure, by all means we can go there. I suppose it really depends how many weapons we've added to the game that increase the damage to the point where people want more protection than they were getting at the moment from their Elysians.
And more powerful bosses as well.
It's also been suggested that if we were to add it, then we could make it as you add the Divine Sigil to your Elysian shield, so it's not so it's not to devalue all the other things, because we keep doing updates like that.
There go my hopes of ever affording one.
Frankly, I think the Divine should just come like the Divine came.
We straw poll it?
Yeah, straw poll Divine. To touch on that though, there were some concerns when we said we were only going to do the Ellie in the beginning, but I think we can all agree the Ellie's done more than fair enough to hold its own and as Old School's best shield.
Well, it was a bit close even whether we did the Ellie or not. That was scraping the threshold in the poll.
Yeah.
Divine just never came close.
And this Divine stuff has only come up for the last week. So you'd think if it was that big a deal, it'd probably been a bigger deal back then.
You would expect so. I mean, I suppose the complaint for the Divine, I guess, is how's it going to impact on PvP? And, you know, one thing might be stick it into PvP world, see how that works for a week, take feedback, and then see what happens there. Maybe a way of doing it.
I think we've seen from the Ellie that it doesn't really affect PvP. It's very rare that you're going to take one.
You never see an Ellie in the wilderness. Very rarely. And
I wouldn't
fight somebody with a Divine. Anybody would.
Yeah. I mean, what we don't want to create is sort of a win-all thing, which Divine may well become.
Yeah.
And if you know you're going to win with a Divine in the wilderness, then you're more likely to take it.
If you run into multi and you run into some spears, you're not invincible with it. Like there's a couple ways, but yeah, as far as like one-on-one PKing in Edgeville, good luck. So we're gonna straw poll. Would you like to see the Divine Spirit Shield added to Old School? And get you guys voting on that. Let's move on to the next question.
If this does well in the straw poll, the price of Ellie is going to drop.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's entirely up to the community then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Time to buy some Ellies.
50k.
Not sell them, but buy them.
Charles asks, when the Sire Pet becomes too far away from you, can it have a teleport animation to appear back by your side?
There's no content side code running to make it teleport like that, so we've got nothing to tie into. If the engine team could, reprogram the way followers work, then it could become possible.
You were seeing about the same effect again. It's in the 60s. This Divine poll here.
Yeah.
Votes are just climbing. Make your vote count, guys. Would you like to see? This is not like an act. This isn't going to actually happen.
Yes,
Just for the sake of hypothetically, would you like to see the Divine in Old School? It's got like give or take 65% what we'd expect.
Yeah, that's what happened last time, wasn't it?
Okay.
Disappointing. It'd be nice to see sort of a much more pronounced decision on it, really.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Guess not enough has changed. Maybe we'll just have to make a boss that's like extremely difficult.
Yes.
There you go. All right.
Well, that could be fun.
I think we had a fair good go over the
We could
last
have
year.
a boss, we could call it D, okay? And when you get damaged by it,
Don't do
you
it.
could go Audi.
You did it. All right.
They have to put up with this every day,
Yep,
by the way.
we do have
All
questions.
Should we move on?
Samster says, will Lost City be a safe zone in Deadman mode? And what about other places that aren't on the map, underground areas, etc.?
As far as I'm aware, all underground areas are PvP enabled.
Yeah.
And there's no guards down there at all.
So Lost City has no guards.
Yep. Has no guards.
That would be amusing if you got mugged by a load of aggressive fairy guards in there.
Okay.
That would be.
Hashtag dad jokes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's what me and Paul particularly are very good at.
You know what? Got one in here. Okay, I'm just gonna jump to this question. Dylorn asks, what does Zulrah become when you use a fire spell on it? This is a question.
I don't know.
Zul cooked.
Very good. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Classic joke Thursday.
People send us these jokes.
Yeah.
This was on Reddit. It's doing really well. It's got like, yeah, okay. Dreams asks, when can we expect the Brimhaven Agility Arena buff?
God, a long time, yeah. I mean, we spoke about it a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I wouldn't expect to see it this year. I mean, we've got New Continent, we've got Deadman mode to get out, we've got the reactive on Deadman mode, we've got Christmas, we've got Halloween, we've got 2 new developers coming who need to be trained up, so we're pretty rammed for the rest of the year.
New quest, Fight Caves extension, etc.
Yeah, I mean, that's all begin next year.
I think we did slate a month for something minigamey next.
Yes, yeah, I'm trying to remember when it was. I think
It might
because
have been.
May was that. April was, yeah, I think it was March. We were looking at for that sort of thing, March or April.
So soon, TM.
Yeah, pretty much. Talking in code.
Okay. Boss asks, so this is an interesting one. Is there any way to prevent price changes from JMod tweets? Kind of like what we just did.
Yes,
Yeah.
stop asking us questions, we'll stop answering.
It's pretty much it. It's I was speaking about it earlier. There's laws in the world to stop people, big important people within companies saying things before so the stock market don't react in the wrong way. But we don't have that, and we will probably never have that because we'll say stuff. In fact, it's not just us. Players will say stuff. Influential players will say something, and suddenly that will change the price of it. So.
Yes, like our discussion about the Divine might impact the price of Elysium.
Exactly. I'd expect to see. I've had 4 emails come in since we mentioned the Divine, which is probably warnings that the price of Ellie's are going down quickly.
We've already jumped quite a bit just
Yeah.
from this discussion.
But yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
So, unless we move to having all future updates completely secret, and we never give any hints about what we're working on, and we never tell you what we're working on in any way, shape or form, that way we will not impact prices. But that's quite a big shift.
Yes, indeed.
And boy, do you keep asking the questions.
Right. Seems the crackling has reappeared, so we will make it through it. All right, let's do it. Sammy asks, thoughts on using swamp tar as bait for the swamp eels regarding the fishing for scales?
Did we settle on bait in the end? I can't remember.
I think it said bait in the blog.
Yeah.
The way people gather swamp tar ain't exactly,
Relative?
well, walking around Lumbridge Swamp or getting it from one of the resource dropping things or mini games. I'd just as soon go with it as standard bait. None of them exactly come from exciting gameplay.
Next question then. Nico asks, any updates on the resizable interfaces Ian's been working on?
Yeah, he had to kind of put it to the side for a bit to work on Deadman mode and some other stuff like that. Sorry, I was looking forward to that one myself. I hope you'll be able to get back onto it again in the fairly near future.
Spine asks, will players be able to roam around the completely black area that's currently being pulled? And also, can we choose other colors?
The thing about it being a black area is that it gets rid of all the dynamic shading that the engine keeps doing to to all the scenery and all the walls. Like if you gave you a completely white area, then you'd still get some kind of dynamic shading going off on it. Whereas if we give you black floor, no walls, no sky, then the engine's not going to try and do anything clever that gets in the way of your screenshot.
Right.
So I think black is the most effective way of doing it. Anything else, you'll still have to do a lot more work to separate the images out.
And will you be allowed to walk around or just stand still?
Well, there's not really anywhere to go. It's meant to be, if you go from this bit of black to this bit of black, it'll look like this bit of black.
But if somebody was recording for, say, a
Oh,
video
we'd
or
let
something.
you go a few tiles so that you can get walk animals
Okay,
and stuff.
okay.
But it's not expected to be a humongous area of exploration.
Explore black.
When what's around this corner?
It could be
black,
though, couldn't it? We could give them 100 squares of blackness.
Or a rare chance of finding something.
Yeah.
A very rare chance. If they explore for long
Oh
enough, they
my
might
God.
find it.
That sounds
Got some
terrible.
invisible walls.
It'll
And
be-
now
it'll be a
you'll
jar or
never
something,
know
won't
if it's
it?
in there as an Easter egg.
Jar of darkness.
Graham, black lobster.
So for anybody that's not following, we're currently polling a black space where you could sit your character and gather cool screenshots, clips, whatever you want to do in there. I imagine this would be somewhere like in your house. But
Well, I think we said in the blog that it was going to be on the disc of returning, because that already takes you to a black
right,
hole.
that makes
That's
sense.
So
Good
this will
idea.
just be a blacker hole.
Yes.
Okay.
Blacker than Thordor's hole.
Rooney asks, why isn't the quest cape included in the skill cape perks? What perk would it have?
It's not a skill cape.
Yeah, it's pretty much answers that,
It's
doesn't
a
it?
quest cape.
If there's something people think it should have, then we can poll it and do it. For the moment, we don't have a huge amount that springs to mind.
I can't think of anything.
Maybe they can.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
We can give it a call and note. Oh, it does that already.
Yeah, we could have it teleport to somewhere questish.
Yeah.
The Wise Old Man.
Yes.
That would be useful because there's already a teleport to
Yes.
Okay. Waifu asks, can the geomancy spell notify you when your herbs and trees become diseased?
I think it has the capability to.
It will tell you that they are diseased when you happen to cast it, but it doesn't sit there casting itself in the background and popping up prompts when you might wish it to. For that, there is the Amulet of Nature.
This might get really heavy after a while.
Now, we could upgrade the Amulet of Nature to be a lot more useful, because it's it doesn't give a huge amount of detail at the moment. I mean, it gives a lot less than Geomancy. And there's things it was given in the years after 2007 that we could reintroduce, like the teleporting to a patch, why not? Or potentially we could let you do things to the patch remotely. If the thing's got diseased, it could let you cure the patch. We could also introduce the ability to have more than one Amulet of Nature if we really try, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
you're not going to enjoy testing that if I do it.
Actually, farming's not too bad. In most
Wow.
It's not. I'm not familiar. I did do the left click ops job, remember?
You did do the left click ops job.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're up for expanding the feature in the game that already tries to notify you when your patches get diseased or dead. Well, dead's not very useful, but the Geomancy spell isn't trying to notify you all the time in real time as to the cycles
Right.
update.
Yeah, you're going to have to use the runes to find out how they're getting on.
Okay. The GE banker asks, can we have a rest emote? Entirely cosmetic, wouldn't actually restore run, he just wants to sit down as an emote.
You can with the dream spell on the Lunar Spellbook already. It's,
Can you just sit?
well, you sort
I
of sit
forget
and
You need to use runes though, obviously.
Dream, yeah.
Maybe we should just call it a city emote rather than a rest emote, then nobody will get confused with it.
Well, if we take that Drill Demon sit-ups emote and just chop it up a bit, then we'll have
Yeah.
sit and not do exercise.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
not too long ago, this would have been just blown off likely, and everybody would have just been like, no, it's just stupid, anything to do with rest. But with the Drill Demon emotes, they went over quite well, right?
Maybe we could do something with Christmas as a reward for Christmas. You get to sit down places. You get to sit on the floor. I don't know how we could work that in. Naughty
Leave that
boy
one
at
to you.
Christmas.
Sing
Have
the
to sit
naughty
on
step.
the naughty step. Yeah, maybe that sort of thing.
Okay.
Let's
If
not do that.
we are really short of things to do, then yes, we can add that emote.
If we run out of things to do.
Yeah.
All right. Yeezy asks, can you pull a change so that the halo isn't protected over the whip? It's got a rather high alch value. The halo does.
I think they were initially low when we were asked to take it up.
Really?
I think you might be right.
I
Yeah.
think, can't say with any certainty, but it rings a bell.
I looked up their config costs. The halos are set in at 150k and the whip's in more like 120.
Yeah.
That's not their actual out values, but it's the thing their out values coming off.
Just don't go knocking your halos.
And we could take them down, but the issue with that is that a lot of people might expect it to protect over certain other things like the whip, and then find that it doesn't, and be rather upset that they lost 300 Castle Wars tickets.
Getting those tickets does seem rather harder than getting the price of a whip again.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely.
I'd rather not tweak those, if I'm honest. And I don't see it being. It'd be more unpopular than popular, I'd have thought.
Yeah.
All right. Willie asks, and shortly we're going to be heading over in about 10 minutes' time to the Halloween event with Mod Ghost. Just a heads up. Willie asks, could the prospect option in mining tell you when the next ore is going to spawn? Is that OP?
It doesn't have any way of knowing at the moment.
Yeah.
I imagine we could find some way of spawning something on the ground when the rock changes type that remembers how long it's going to be till the rock changes back again. And then the prospect option should look for it, and if it is one, give the information.
That'd be useful for your rune things, wouldn't it? Be the most useful thing for it.
Even if we could do it, would it pass a poll?
Well, I don't see a major problem with it.
Yeah, and the only thing that we get an interesting idea, but the issue that I see is if we have a whole load of, and it's going to be bot related, a whole load of bots that know when a spawn is going to be happening, is there going to be a bot created which logs them into a certain world at a certain point to all try and mine that rock at the same time?
If anything, the bot's the thing that doesn't mind waiting, whereas a human does.
Well, I think it's 8 and 8 hours, true.
I'm just thinking hopping to a world, seeing empty rocks, then hopping to a different world without knowing that that rock might have changed in a matter of 2 seconds.
If we expose that information, would clients be able to read it and tell you which rocks are spawning when?
No.
That's good.
Also, we could make the accuracy of the information depend on your mining level if we really wanted to.
Well, that's quite cool.
Yeah,
like that.
less than 70, say about 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Well,
That's good.
something to look into, I guess. We are all the way down here now. J Beebs asks, will you be expanding on the skilling pets offered after this first batch?
Yeah, we'd like to see how well they go down first and take it from there. I'd like to do a phoenix for fire making, for example, of another one. There's been a couple of other suggestions as well, like a chair for construction.
Yes, that's a great idea, isn't it?
I'll go well with a sit-down emote.
Yeah. But we'd like to see how well the first batch goes down with you guys first.
Yeah, indeed.
It's worth noting that the pets we've polled so far are things where you're gathering the resources. I don't think we've got anything in the list so far where you can buy all the stuff in advance on the G and then blast through it for 1 million fish to try and get a cooking pet. Although what a cooking pet would look like could be quite interesting.
They were
It'd
talking
be an
about
Argo,
that golden
wouldn't it?
chef hat we were
Argo on
talking about.
feet. Wandering around after you.
Well, if you want a small stovepipe wandering around, I think that's a penance healer.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's just getting ridiculous. I think it has to be like a monster.
Chef's hat.
Or cute.
Chef's hat with some legs, some tentacles coming out the bottom of it and walking along.
Oh. That reminds me of like a Karambwan with like a chef's hat on.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Job
Okay,
done.
we're getting off
Sorted.
topic. Can Zaya offer new spells with animations used by the Tazar mages? Tazar, however you say it. Are you familiar with these animations? The ones in the fight pits city, whatever you call that, Tsar City. The mages down there, they have a couple different animations that aren't used elsewhere. One of them is like a fire-breathing one. It's almost like the Dragon Fire Shield animation.
Cool.
That could be fun.
Other one's like this really cool spiraling white big thing. It looks really cool.
I'm sure they can be adapted for the human model.
Yeah.
I expect so. I mean, we got the Trident's animation off some locust riding Dubri down the desert and painted it blue.
All right. Well, we can
Minions
definitely
of
give them a look.
Stavros, that's the one.
Not a Cow asks, can we have a brutal harpoon that grants faster XP while destroying the fish?
This sounds like the same question with the smouldering stone and the fishing rod that we had.
That is actually, that's exactly the same question, minus the smoldering stone.
The same answer. Yes, if you really want it.
Yeah.
One of those, we don't really have concerns about it at all. It's simple enough to plug in.
That'd be a good one for a straw poll.
Sure.
Yeah,
Why not? It's been a bit.
Hey guys.
Would you like a brutal harpoon that has the ability to give you faster fishing experience but destroys the fish?
Do we say cooks the fish?
I like destroys.
Yeah, but it destroys them at the same time. Similar to how the smouldering...
Oh, right.
You shouldn't get cooking XP if it destroys the fish.
Also, can it have an animation of the fish being destroyed.
Yes. Maybe you have to sacrifice the fish to get the XP.
I mean, it's going to make fishing a whole lot more AFK and
Yeah,
That's true.
a little
not
bit
a good
faster.
thing. It is effectively Ivy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made of
Or
fish.
sharks, if
Made of
anyone's
fish, yeah.
familiar with that.
Well, we're seeing a lot
Seaweed.
of mixed feedback in the chat, so we'll see how you guys do
I
this
wouldn't
struggle.
vote for it.
Wouldn't be much a fan for it either.
I was just thinking there was a question on the stream. What's on your feet, they say?
Try and give me stuff about my shoes. I have really cool shoes.
Okay.
Well, you have
Really cool
shoes.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't see that one happening anytime soon.
Yeah, we're at like
50-50.
50-50, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, interesting
That's
idea.
impressive.
Yes, it is rather,
guess.
isn't it? Oh, it's 51.49 now.
Ooh, I
Give me those.
think
what are
we should
those?
move on to another idea.
Give it another week, it might get to 75.
All right. Last question before we head over to the Halloween event, I think. Lulzerker asks, will the Fight Caves extension be via, whatever you say here, the current Fight Cave or through a new area in Zaya?
It will probably be current. It's all up to be designed and stuff yet, but I would expect it makes sense to do fight caves and then go straight into a new fight cave rather than going to the other side of the world and doing it. Yeah, but it's all got to be designed. It will run past you guys. Don't. Or you guys, whichever
Okay.
camera I'm looking at, that one. Hello.
We're now going to head over to Mod Ghost, who's going to give a preview of the soon-to-come Halloween event.
Yay.
Okay. Oh, on me. Right, okay, good. Right, so this year's Halloween event, I've prepared a statement which I'll read to you just to give you a lowdown of the story. That way we're not giving out too many spoilers. So, after failing to convince Gelanorians everywhere to abandon their Windtumber revelry in exchange for the sobering malaise of everyday life, Anti-Santa sought out his buddy, the Grim Reaper, for a much-needed dose of cynicism. So basically, Anti-Santa has gone to the Grim Reaper's house and he won't leave. Your job is to kick him out. You're going to have to dress up in a disguise because Anti-Santa, after Windtumber last year, can't stand humans. So this is the disguise here, and it's essentially the Gravedigger's outfit. So we'll just have a run through of the house and just check out these new areas that have been made. So here we've got the kitchen and we've got the refrigerator just here. That's going to be relevant to the content, so you're going to be needing to use that. And we've relaid out the living room just here, and we've got a new study area. So everything's just a lot more bolder and a bit more colourful. And as you can see, Anti-Santa's frozen up the house, so you're going to have to sort of thaw that out for death as well. Up the stairs here, we'll give you access. Yeah, okay. Okay, fair enough. So up here is going to be Death's Halloween party, which he's essentially trying to get you to kick Anti-Santa out of the house so you can actually have, and you'll have access to that as a reward at the end of the event. And over here we have Anti-Santa himself, who's taken to lounging around the place, researching Windtumber conspiracy theories in his pants. So throughout the event, as you interact with certain objects, he's going to be interrogating you to ask you exactly what you're doing in the house, and there'll be a suspicion meter at the top of the screen. If you answer questions incorrectly, then that suspicion meter will go up, and gradually as he gets more suspicious, you'll increase the chance that you'll get found out and evicted from the house. So we've also got the garden area, which has been redesigned as well. If we just run out of here, like that, there we go. Cool, so we've got the graveyard just here, which is just a giant barrow mound with lots of graves all over the place. And a clumsy artist has actually mapped down some roof just there, but that'll be removed. I know, that's quite bad, isn't it? I've just noticed that before. And we've got Anti-Santa's shed over here, where you'll be able to access some items which, again, you'll use in the event. We've got Anti-Santa's anti-coal just here, which is good for nothing, essentially, and he's just wrecked Death's shed by filling it with stuff. Just another reason to kick him out. And then over here as well, we've got Death's work shed, where he likes to take part in his hobby of coffin building. That's his favourite pastime. So you also need to use the sawmill in this area to complete tasks too. So the nature of this is going to be quite linear. There'll be 3 objectives, and each of the objectives will have 3 tasks within it. I don't really want to spoil the details of what those tasks are because it'd be more fun for you to find out yourself. And also Ash has written some interesting dialogue too for Death, which is quite humorous. And we've also got a boiler area, actually, I almost forgot about that. So we've got a new door just here that will take you down into the boiler room, which I can show you as well. So we've got Death's boiler room down here too, which will be instrumental in thawing the house. I think that is just about everything. I could show you the upstairs, but I don't really want to ruin that for you either. So yeah, that's the Halloween event. I hope you enjoy it. It will be more interesting, I should think, when you actually play it through, and all of this seems to make sense, and it isn't just a pretty environment. Cool. Thank you.
Looks absolutely brilliant, doesn't it?
Looks awesome. I really like the floors. It's
I
really like the oddest thing to point out.
That's the thing you'd see the most,
No,
isn't
we all
it?
commented on that floor when
Yeah.
we first saw
Okay.
it.
I like the blue screen of death.
Yeah, no, that is quite good.
Yeah, we had him do that last year.
Yeah, I remember. Last
No,
minute
that's
edition, wasn't
fantastic.
it?
Yes,
So the Halloween event will be out next week then?
that's the plan.
Next Thursday.
Can't be
yeah.
much later than that, or Halloween will happen.
Yep. And again, Mod Ghost you will get to see again in about half an hour's time in a special Let's Design Zaya live stream. So look forward to that. Back to the questions. Callie asks, with the Max Cape now here, when can we expect the Comp Cape? You knew this was going to come like the day after. we made the Max
Yeah, it's bound to happen eventually. Not anytime soon is the first thing I'm going to say, because there's a couple of other achievement-related items I'd like to offer you next year, and probably after that we'll tie them all in with max skills and all quests, all diaries, etc., to create a completionist-esque cape. What that offers in terms of stats, bonuses, etc., will obviously be discussed with the community, but it's likely to happen eventually.
Indeed.
Eventually, TM.
Yeah.
And to those of you that missed the Divine talk earlier, we straw pulled it 65%, even worse than we actually pulled it in the game.
Yeah.
So,
The divine talk sounds.
Divine talk.
Yes. It's very spiritual.
I already know I'm gonna throw this up on YouTube and put Divine in the title.
Well, it is an ethereal shield.
Okay. Frank asks, will Deadman mode have staking?
No.
No, Dual Arena is disabled.
Yeah.
All right, that answers that.
That'd
And
be very weird.
we've removed the one clue scroll that is in the Dual Arena as well.
Oh, and the other place, Rat Pits, is the other, where else you could bet on things, isn't it?
Yeah,
So
right.
that's been done.
No
Not that
brain
anybody will
blocks.
ever notice, but there we go.
All right. Might be a good place to hide then. Deserted area no one will be using.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now everybody knows about it. It's not very good anymore.
Ruined.
It's
So
also
keep
not
these secrets to yourself.
It's not safe.
It wasn't a secret. All right. Classy asks, in addition to wins and losses at the duel arena, can it also track how many coins we've lost?
Oh, that's interesting.
It would have to be an approximation once you hit max in. But
Which you can hit very quickly in the dual arena. I
yeah, mind you, would you really want to know, especially if you're someone like Skill Specs who constantly loses bank,
Yes.
or you're just minus 800 bill for the month or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah.
Would you really want to know?
I think
you
we'd all want to know now.
You do it on a daily basis and wipe it every day.
You've lost this much today.
You've lost this much today, yeah.
How much will you lose tomorrow? Find out tomorrow.
A link
I
to
don't
Gamblers
encourage them.
Anonymous or something underneath it.
We could have a high score of people who've lost the most in a given day
Yes.
and get them to compete on that.
But it would be the same thing all the way down, wouldn't it?
Well, no, you just stake your friend and lose on purpose,
Yeah.
wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Okay. Next question then. Dazed asks, will the Maxscape have teleports to certain places?
I'll have all the teleports that are on offer with all the other Skill Cape perks. So that's, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but Crafting Guild was one. Warriors Guild, yeah, all the Skill Capes all rolled into one. That's just for the standard Max Cape though. Should the other Max Cape question pass, where you can combine it with Fire Cape, Arbor's Device and God Cape, to prevent those capes going best in slot, they won't have the standard Max Cape perks.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely want to have your say on that. That's being pulled right now.
Could go either way, that one.
Yeah, the Max Cape
Good.
It's pretty
questions
close.
are like 77% before you
Really?
get downstairs. Yeah.
Gosh, it was in 73 last time I looked.
Yeah, should be fine then.
Really is going either way.
Okay. Next question. Colin asks, why wasn't the Halloween event updated today?
We haven't finished writing it yet.
Yeah.
There's your answer. Right. RS Captiva, we've got a couple suggestions here. So he says, balloon travel doesn't require logs when fire-making skill cape is equipped.
Yeah, me and Kieran saw that, and we hoped we'd seen that before we put the poll up, in all honesty. It's a very good suggestion. We may be able to re-poll it as another benefit for the fire-making cape later on, but it's a little bit too late now. It's a very good idea, though.
What's the current benefit we're pulling?
I believe it's acting as a lantern everywhere, and that's going to take Kieran a long time to develop.
Yeah.
Because there's no centralised lighting up script. It's got to be tied in everywhere.
Well, also he's going to have to override all the things that try to extinguish all your lanterns.
That is true.
There's quite a few of them, and he'll have to work out what to do with the Haunted Mine quest, where it relies on being able to do so.
Good luck, Kieran.
Yeah.
Okay. Ed Village asks, or sorry, he has a suggestion rather. Can you hide combat levels in Deadman mode? We did already ask this.
I think the reason we gave. I mean, with the whole point of Deadman mode is as similar to Old School as possible, but without the with the extra game mechanics in there, and taking away people's combat level will change it significantly. People would expect to see it, and they need to keep seeing it.
Running into somebody in PvP and knowing whether they're way higher than you is quite an integral part of running into people in PvP for me.
To me, it sounds like something that would be funny for like the first time or two, but then eventually you'd be like, okay.
There's no reason why we can't do specially themed events. Have a weekend of no combat levels, so they disappear, or things like that. So
it's going to have an awesome title: Weekend of No Combat Level.
It would be the higher levels would dress up as noobs, and the noobs would dress up as
noobs.
Not so much noobs.
Yeah, I can see the interest. It certainly sparks some nice tactics. But
we can. I mean, there's no reason why with Deadman mode we can't do funny themed events just to see what happens. Such as this, or I don't know, make every player invisible or something. And have that running for a weekend, see what happens. There's no reason why we can't. It would be quite scary, wouldn't it? We wouldn't get too many people fighting each other.
Yeah, I think
but then if you accidentally click on somebody, or heaven forbid,
I think the novelty would wear off really.
You just see the skull, wouldn't you? But there's no reason why we can't just do weird stuff like that if we really want to.
It'd just be skulls running around.
Yeah, exactly.
Max Means running around in pure gear.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just going to do that in the Clan Wars Free-for-All arena for an evening, for a live stream or something, and see what that does.
Oh, no, that's a great way of doing it. We could get Raynan's things, couldn't we? You could just have a whole load of new rules for Clan Wars. Yeah, that works. We'll do that.
Okay.
Good idea. Raynan, if you're watching, put a Jira job in for that.
Next question.
Delegating via stream.
Yes.
That Abe guy asks, another suggestion. Serpentine Amulet. So he says, remove teleport scrolls altogether and add a new tradable serpentine crystal that requires 75 crafting to turn into an amulet. This amulet would be charged with scales. So remove teleport scrolls, instead use scales.
The issue is not the thing, it's removing the teleport scrolls. Because if people have already got them, you don't want to suddenly whip out a load of people who've just spent however many hundreds of thousands of GP on it. But it's the actual item itself, I think, would probably have been better if we'd launched with that, because that sounds quite good. But, I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing, though, Yeah. Something we have to learn for the next boss, I think. But
in a sense, we actually did. That's why the Keymaster teleport scrolls are a lot less common than that.
Exactly, exactly. But I do like that idea if there's a solution for it, but I don't know, it just seems it's getting rid of the scrolls which is going to be the issue.
The amulet you'd have to only equip for a teleport, so it'd only be like cosmetic, I would assume.
You're the one with a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you teleport with it, even if we leave the scrolls in, the scrolls will suddenly lose value. So then we've got them. They've gone up in value. They'll go down in value, and then everything will be worse.
The thing is, using scales for more things. A lot of the feedback we get is that people aren't getting enough scales, which is why we're polling, and I think it'll pass a new feature of getting scales. It might be easier to talk about things that consume scales to do stuff for you once there isn't such a shortage of the darn things.
That's true.
I think the teleport scrolls are in a good place right now, unless you're an Iron Man. So probably best we leave them be. Pingu asks, can all wilderness teleports be right-clickable? Or sorry, be forced to be a right-click?
I mean, one to teleport you into the wilderness.
Yeah. The tabs are, aren't they?
The tabs are. I'm assuming they mean the spells in the
Yeah.
Ancient Spellbook and Lunar Spellbook.
Yeah, I think it came up after the Sire came out. People go there with a lot of runes for using ancient magic against the Sire. Then it goes and drops lore runes on the floor, and you pick them up, and suddenly you happen to have the requirements for an obscure teleport to deep wilderness.
I'd be happy to put a warning on the ones on the Ancient Spellbook with an obligatory toggle for Togglescape, because the Ice Plateau teleport has a warning on it.
Yeah, it's funny that the Lunar Spellbook obviously was written a long time later by a completely different person with different thoughts in mind, and he decided to put a warning on it, whereas the developer who wrote the Ancient Magics years earlier didn't.
Weren't we talking last week about customisable magic books? You have to
We were.
customise the spells.
Yes, it's sort of my order. I think it was done in 2008 or 2009 sometime.
There's a toggle on that to remove wilderness teleports.
There was a toggle to
Probably
remove
solve it.
teleports. I don't
Yeah.
remember it being wilderness specific.
It was just teleports.
Yeah, I know, but we can do that if we want to as well, which will solve that problem.
Okay. Vacu asks, can the Halloween event give us a reward that lets us dye our cats purple?
The Halloween event is going to stick to the things that were polled, I think.
Yes.
Maybe
Yeah.
next year.
I think they're intrigued enough after what they just saw.
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah. I got mid asks, thoughts on geomancy tablets? That didn't take long.
Fine by me. We just need to be able to stick it on the POH tablet making interface.
You have to rebuild it.
Done.
Don't think we've made any changes to that since.
I think we added a Make X, didn't we? I know.
Yes,
I know. I've been on that interface before,
Yeah.
and, so I can do more changes to it. It's just the question of whether there's space. I don't actually remember the layout very well.
I think there's a couple of just blank stones. It depends on what Alexa you've got. But even if you've got the top one, they're still blank ones because there's two top ones that offer different things.
Yeah.
So there should be space. And yeah, we did do Make X.
I imagine it would be nice if you didn't want to stay on the Lunar Spellbook.
Yep.
That's about it.
The first Lunar tablet as well.
Run out of symbols for it and colors. Robbie asks, this is a personal question, what's your favorite skilling action in place? I'll go first. The Willows in Draenor. Hands down. Because as a noob, I spent so much time there.
The Nature Altar. I spent 6 weeks there.
The gnome stronghold by that farming patch near the magic tree, so that when everyone else had chopped down the magic tree, I'd got a nice private one on my farming patch no one else could see. Well, it made me feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be thieving in Ardoin on the guards in the castle, trapping him behind that door.
One of those guys, eh?
Yeah, yeah, trap him in the door.
Up until he walks through the wall or something.
No, because what you do is you let him move every now and then, because you keep him in one square and you just thieve from him, and then you've got to take a step back so he walks out and then walks back into the other square, then you go back in there and it sort of resets the timer that teleports him back to where he started from. Now you've all learnt a lesson. That is how you thieve
Well done.
efficiently.
Dyloran asks, what does Zora become? I've already asked that one. That was the Zol cooked one.
That was terrible.
Is
That
there a
was
better
terrible.
joke this time?
Sorry?
Is there a better joke this time?
Nope. It's as good as it gets. If you do have any good jokes or puns, yeah, I can throw one of them into the Q&A. Go ahead
There
and
are
ask them
bad
next
ones
week.
as well.
Bad
Based-
ones. I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
based-
they're all bad.
They're based on previous evidence, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Dottie asks, when will bounty hunters see a skip button, or could we possibly have the ability to hop to the same world?
Bounty Hunter.
Hop to the
Well,
same
log
world for
out.
Bounty Hunter.
yeah. So you know the world hopper. You can't
Yeah.
double click on the world that you're currently in. You have to log out and then back in. That's the question.
They'd like a one-click button that resets potion restore timers so that they can make a stat boost last forever, yeah?
I was just thinking, skip targets.
But it would also have that side effect, which
That's
is
true.
why I'd be inclined not to offer it.
Hadn't thought of that one.
Well, the last player who asked me for it said that it wasn't that overpowered.
Yeah, I've heard that before on a number of releases.
Okay,
There we
I'm
go.
going to say no to that one.
Etc.
Clear, before we get into the chat questions for the last 10 minutes or so, asks, how much info will the monster examine spell give us exactly?
So, for a monster, you should have the its combat stats, you know, attack, strength, defense, ranged, magic, hit points. That's max hit points. The current ones, which show, though, may not be very useful to you, because you've already got a hit bar in that situation. We've also got your bonuses, like a monster will have stab defense bonus, a slash defense bonus, a crush defense bonus, magic defense, range defense bonuses as well. And there's bonuses for its attack as well, used by standard things like, for range attack, melee attack, magic attack. If you're wondering why it doesn't have 3 separate melee attack bonuses for the 3 separate styles of melee, it's because it usually only has 1 style of melee associated with it, so it'll just do that one better. And strength bonus as well. Now, monsters with special behaviour, like just about any boss monster in the game, they tend to override the standard behaviour. So quest bosses especially will often go away from what's configured on them and try and do something clever. But for most of the monsters across RuneScape, this should be a lot more information than you normally get. And for things like your KBD, why not? And you got mostly God Wars bosses, I think this will be a good help.
It's a lot more info than I was expecting, to be honest.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah, that's very good. I don't know, I was half expecting just kind of like saying weak to stab, uses slash, there you go.
Oh, you should have those as well.
Yeah.
But, well, I'd like to give the numbers.
I think they'd appreciate that.
People
They like
ask for
data.
things, and I've really no objection to them knowing it.
Cool. Next question. Could we have the ability to put untradables into the loot bag? I imagine this is an Ultimate Iron Man.
The reason we avoided that is that there's a lot of code throughout the game that tries to check how many of given items you've got. And it's checking your inventory and it's checking your bank and sometimes checking your worn. If we introduce new inventory, we've got to find all the places that are checking these things and install more checks in them. Which we can do, but it's going to take a very long time and there's no real guarantee we're going to do it right. And we'll just be having obscure bugs and obscure quests for the rest of eternity. So it's a kind of one-size-fits-all solution that lets us have a looting bag that's quite useful for PK loot, which is what it was intended for. We said it can only be used on tradable items because it really wasn't intended for use on whatever other stuff you happen to have picked up when you're around the wilderness.
Okay. Last actual question here from the paper before we go back to the chat. We've already touched on recolors and saying how they're not really an option. Same goes for Maxscape, I assume, recoloring the Maxscape.
Well, at the moment we're polling a whole load of things that will customise the Maxscape in different ways. Sure. We thought we should poll either that or cosmetic recolours for it, but not both at the same time. And if this thing passes, then we'll probably run with it. If it doesn't pass, we can come back to the other idea of just purely cosmetic stuff. But again, what Matt said earlier, if a given item can look like 20 different pictures, it makes it a lot harder to recognise.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, I think it was the 4th most important point for the players when we gave them that list of 20 things to tell us what was important. So it's significantly. It surprised me. I won't say it shocked me, but it surprised me it was that high up. I mean, it was higher up than MTX, for example, and that was really quite interesting.
People just want to recognise what they're looking at.
Indeed.
So you're saying people would rather have MTX than a recolorable Maxscape?
Yeah, I think MTX came 7th.
Fascinating.
Which was, surprising.
That's quite what they were saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was quite a fascinating. MTX. Oh, sorry. People might not know what MTX means. Microtransactions are things such as the Squeal of Fortune and Solomon's Store and Treasure Hunter, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's what I mean by MTX.
All right. On to the chat questions then. I derp my herp. Really? Can any person attack any other person in dead man mode, no matter what the combat level?
Yes.
Yeah.
The question that you need to answer is, will anybody do it? Now, if you attack somebody else, you get skull. If you're skulled, anybody who attacks you doesn't get skulled, and if you'll die when you're skulled, no matter what, you will lose half your XP, you will lose your top 28 items out your bank, or 28 stacks out your bank, you will lose everything that you're wearing. So the question you ask yourself is, if I'm a level 126, I see a level 3, yes, it's quite easy for me to walk over to him and kill him, but that risk I then put on my account after killing this level 3, which will probably be for absolutely no benefit whatsoever, is it worth it? So it's not a case of can they, it's more a case of will they.
The only people I see killing level 3s are other level 3s.
Yeah, I think we'll see a fair bit of that.
Yeah. It's going to be an absolute massacre on release.
I think, I mean, that's sort of what we expect to happen. But I think, you know, a few days into it, when the high-level players start being seen, that's when you're going to start getting the interesting stuff happening. But I think there'll be a lot less death there than people expect. You put your sacks away.
I'm looking at it from the other side. It's if you're a level 90-something and you can see a level 126, are you then willing to risk, you know, the mediocre levels you've got to take away all of their level 99s and whatever they might have in their bank?
Exactly.
And it's a true tactical challenge.
It's just going to be every time you attack someone. I'm writing something at the moment to sort of explain a bit more in depth about how I think players are going to react in Dead Man. Every time you see another white dot, you have to make a decision, is it worth my while attacking this person? And I'd imagine that 95% of the time, if not higher, the answer is no. So I don't think once the game gets into its stride, we're going to see that much death. It's going to be quite fascinating. I'll happily be wrong. People can massacre each other all day long. That's fine. But
we do feast on the tears of our customers.
Yes, we do pretty much. as we quite regularly say, this is the only industry where you actually actively try and get your customers to kill each other.
That's the thing I like about this industry, because in this fantasy world, a boss is something you kill.
Yes.
And there's not many other workplaces where you can say that.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. But there we go. But it's going to be fascinating what happens with Dead Man mode. It's been really interesting to see what happens.
Again, Dead Man mode will be released October 29th.
Yeah, next Thursday.
I'm saying that Dead Man mode.
Yep, this time next week we'll be sat on the sofa and they'll all be not killing each other.
Yes, there'll be nobody watching because they'll all be crying over the levels that they lost.
Yeah. Okay. Valve asks, speaking of Dead Man mode, do you have to create a new account to play it?
Nope. It's an existing account. You have to be a member, but most of you members anyway. But yeah, if you're a member, you can play it on your existing account. You can't play both accounts at once, but there's not a lot we can do about that, unfortunately. So yeah, you'll be playing one game mode or the other on a single account.
So you won't want to focus if you're playing Dead Man mode.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to pick a random one from the chat here, I guess. Max.Wyverns asks, are items and experience lost in Dead Man mode, even if you aren't skulled?
If you're not skulled, you die as you would normally right now in-game. If you are skulled or you're killed by another player, then you get the harsh death mechanics. So that's the 50% XP loss and your 28 items and everything on you disappears.
So even if you aren't skulled, if you're attacked and killed by another player?
If you're killed by another player, you have bad stuff happen.
But not if you're killed by an NPC or anything like that.
Okay.
You can't run away from being attacked by a player to get killed by an NPC.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Yeah, so that's covered as well. So if you get attacked by a player, you run away deliberately to try and die to a bigger monster, you will still die in that way.
You'd have to log out
I don't know.
Reset? Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, damage is reset and log in.
Okay, cool. Markscape asks, will the max cape be made larger on female characters? It looks tiny on females compared to males. It's a Mod Ghost question.
Actually, Alfred modelled that. I'll take a look at that and we'll just make any changes we think are necessary. It didn't look all that dissimilar, because capes are typically a bit smaller on females, but I'll have a look.
Mages, will we ever be able to revert our Iron Man status?
If you've set yourself as a permanent Iron Man, then you were effectively telling us you never wanted to change your status. Now, if you've changed your mind about that, then drop the support team a note. Make sure you tell them what your display name is so they know who you're talking about, but drop them a note and they'll take away the permanent flag for you. And then you can ask the Iron Man tutors in Lumbridge to downgrade you at your convenience.
Okay. Jack asks, any thoughts on a recruit a friend system where you could help a friend who is new to the game through quests and trainings, reaping rewards for both parties?
It would depend on the rewards. I don't imagine a 10% XP boost would go down particularly well.
No.
You are, of course, welcome to recruit a friend anyway and play with them.
You get the benefit of having a friend.
I mean, I like the idea. I don't know. I think you're right that the rewards are an issue. The 10% XP would never work. And if it is using it for an excuse to get extra XP, it probably makes that question null and void.
Yeah.
But if they really have friends that they want to bring on and help, then maybe there could be something we could do. Although what, I don't know.
Maybe do a bit of discount or something on the membership, probably.
Potentially, yeah. But I don't know. Needs a big look into that. See what's usable, what works.
There's one there from Larry. There it is. Will Deadman Mode have community streams?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes, yeah. In fact, I think all three of us are planning to stream it on our own accounts over the first weekend at the same time. So that's going to be quite interesting. All three of us, me, you, and Ronan.
Wouldn't mind putting a delay on my stream because they'll chase me.
Of course they will. Well, that's, you're a JMod. They're going to chase you and try and kill you.
I'll give them a 2-minute delay.
Why did you think?
In 2 minutes ago, I'll be where you are now.
Yeah.
Right.
Why?
Where you were that. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it means you can't stop for more than 2 minutes.
I'm planning on playing, but I'm not going to stream for that exact reason.
So I don't. I mean, I'm quite looking forward to it, and I'll stream it because I think it's a good.
It'll be
thing for us to
extremely
do.
fun to watch. Anybody who is brave enough to stream it.
Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, you've still got exactly the same issue where people may see who you are, but are they going to risk their account, their XP, their levels to come and kill you? Which is a whole extra dynamic. There's going to be a bit more prestige, I guess, from killing a JMod, but at the end of the day, can you do it without putting yourself at risk, which is another challenge in itself? Can you keep playing the game without letting people kill you?
Yeah. Also, if somebody does attack somebody else on stream, they're letting the entire viewer list of that stream know that they are skulled right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it'll be a vicious circle.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite fascinating. But like I said, we're going to be streaming it over the first weekend. We're organising a time where all three of us are streaming it together. And so that's going to be interesting to see how that all works. 9 o'clock on Sunday, the 32nd of October.
1st of November.
32nd of October. Yeah.
I'd say I'd come and hunt you down, but I'm actually not around that weekend.
9 o'clock, 1st of November.
Okay.
Well, we'll be streaming, me, you, and Ronan all at the same time from homes.
Or here,
up at 9. Where it is. You are?
I'm only kidding.
It's 9 o'clock in the evening.
Oh, okay.
I won't do it 9 o'clock in the morning. Who are you kidding?
Next question then, another Deadman question asking here. Will Deadman boats be expensive like they are in Darkscape?
I think in Darkscape there's a lot more focus on getting from one part of the game to another and having separate economies in the different towns. Now that's not really applicable to Deadman mode, so no, I don't think we were planning to make the charter ships more expensive or anything like that. They're quite different in various ways.
Okay. There's another Deadman question in here somewhere. Brungus asks, can I use alts in Deadman to trade stuff between other builds?
Yeah. I mean, there's one person who came up with the idea of having a whole series of accounts but only levelling 3 skills on each account so that nothing's ever at risk, so you can always protect those 3 skills.
That's a really good idea.
Which is nice, but...
What's this?
Oh, God. Yeah, which is nice, but it's not against the rules, basically.
You didn't like them?
I didn't like them.
A random ball has appeared?
Didn't want anything to go off. You get that?
Yeah, thanks.
So, Chris,
Do you want to explain?
You might want to explain.
It's Matt's 10-year anniversary at JagX?
Yes, yeah, on Saturday.
Yeah.
Which is scary, isn't it? God, I've been here almost as long as you have.
So we've got you a cake just to say thanks for a decade of service.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Here's the next one.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's worrying, isn't it? It's
10 years go by that fast.
Yeah, no, it's been quite an amazing 10 years. It started off, in fact, I'll tell the story now because I'll do it anyway. So this is the story I can tell, not the story I can't tell, which I could.
Which he keeps telling.
Yeah, which I keep telling anyway. So it started off when I started playing back in 2004. My wife got me to play. And she said, you've got to play this new game that I found, so I started playing it. And in the local newspaper, a job came up. My wife was like, oh, I'm going to apply for that. I was like, oh, yeah, go on then. So off she went and applied for a job here, and she didn't get it. So she came back, she said, oh, you've got to apply to work there as well. So I did, and I got it, and I haven't been able to escape ever since. And yeah, there we go. I got my own game to play with, it's great.
Was she happy?
She's never said anything.
Yeah.
I've never asked. I think it's probably a bad thing to do that.
Never asked.
So are you started in the support team?
Yeah, started with the support team. 3 months I was in community management looking after the PMods. What else have I done? I've done War of Legends. I set up the Max forums. I set up the clan leader forums. I sorted out the PMod stuff to where it is at the moment. I've done loads of stuff, War of Legends, the whole publishing team, so Ace of Spades, all that lot.
Old School for 2 years.
Old School for 2 years, yeah. To be fair, Old School is probably the most I've enjoyed myself. Right now is quite
good
fabulous
answer.
working here, yeah. I mean, you get to work with great people. You've got great players. You know, even though they can be quite horrible at times. If they weren't passionate, they wouldn't be, and it's quite a wonderful thing to work with. So it's quite wonderful.
It's pointed out in the chat that Old School has the most 10+ years people in it. Like Maz has been here 10 years.
Yes,
I've been
yeah.
here 11 actually. And,
Ian as well. Yeah,
and
yeah.
Ian,
Yeah,
who's been
Ian's
here
just-
since the conception of RuneScape.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah, you all actually are rather old school.
Yeah.
That's
Old
over
school.
4 decades between 4 of us.
Yes, 4 decades on RuneScape expertise.
And then the
Add that to my
responsibilities.
1 year, and we've got quite a long time.
So you know what you get if you've been at Jagex 10 years? Older.
Yes, yes.
And cake.
You get free mental support from the
He's
doctors.
always emailing us about that, telling us we can phone this helpline at any time. Really,
Yeah.
come and work here.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Congratulations, Mod Matt K. 10 years
Thank
at Jagex.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and end the Q&A here, but we're not ending the stream, so don't go anywhere. You're actually going to transition straight over to Mod Ghost with a Let's Design Zaya special. So we'll leave you to that, and yeah, don't go anywhere.
All right.
Bye-bye.